something. It was hella brutally hard. Always need some milk. Jasmine rice. I spent like $80 on groceries. I got some of these tart pellet chocolate filled cookies, artificially flavored, kind of, a 4-pack. Got myself some cereal, toasted oats, some bran flakes as well. Cereal. Above all, I got some good old Oreos. Oreos, some chocolate chip cookies. I always like chocolate chip cookies, and this was on sale for $1. So I'm gonna grab these. Eggs. Salmon. I'm gonna have some salmon as well. Isn't that amazing? So then we got some butter, and then we got some bacon, 2 of them. Garlic bread. Incredible. Spaghetti noodles. I always cook. Gotta have some Parmesan cheese in the house as well. Parmesan cheese. Grab those. And then some stuff to drink. Went with pink simple lemonade and pink lemonade. Love both of these things, incredible. And Arizona tea. I love Arizona tea, so gotta have these. Yep, pretty much done buying the groceries, putting them away in my refrigerator. I think with the spaghetti, I think I'm gonna make some carbonara here in the next hour or so after I charge up the camera battery and upload the prior episode onto YouTube. So, pretty stoked to share in another amazing video log episode for all of you. Thank you for following me on this journey. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all the attention that you have blessed me with so far. from seafood pasta to carbonara today, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I've been really like craving the noodles. The black bean noodles turns into seafood pasta, turns into carbonara. And then I think maybe we'll get off the noodles for a bit. Inside a separate pan right here, and we're just gonna mix some things up. So this part is very simple. I just need to mix some stuff separately. I just used the pan where I had cooked the bacon earlier in, just to save on the volume of dishes I have to do later. So we're still kind of struggling here. So got some more egg, Parmesan cheese mixed in with the egg. See that? The salt, the cheese, some salt. Lots of salt goes into that. And then you want a lot of pepper as well. Otherwise it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I say the quantity a lot because everything's exaggerated with Italian cooking, so bear with me, everybody says a lot, so a lot is what it is. But okay, so I got the Parmesan cheese, the eggs getting mixed. I didn't get the egg whites out, I could have, but for this one, a little lazier. I'm not going to cook the noodles for too long, and it's not going to be too heated in there, so I get the feeling that I'm going to avoid having the egg yolk end up getting cooked from the residual heat because I kind of cooled it down a little bit more. But yes, this is our mixture right here. Let's put in some more pepper to make it work. Then a little bit more pepper and salt. Okay, now we'll take this mixture and we're going to put that into the carbonara right over there. So you guys see this carbonara coming together nice and thoughtfully prepared, mixing this up, making sure that not only the bacon goes where it needs to, but we might also need to add in a little bit of water. In this case, I'm going to put some water in the burrito and then put it in there while I'm mixing. And then I just add some more Parmesan cheese. The noodles to be too sticky, so I'm going to put in just a little bit of water that's in the burrito, so just like that, not too much, Just give it some of that so that the noodles don't just turn into sticky. It needs a little bit of water. And it's that simple to make a great carbonara dish. It's that simple to make a good carbonara. I'm just gonna plate it real quick. I'm not gonna go over the top and just sit there on camera. It's gonna taste very similar regardless, you know. And then let's try out some of that carbonara, huh? Right here. Ooh, so good. Looks fantastic. Fantastic. I think I'm going to have a phenomenal meal. Gotta wash down that carbonara with some of that Arizona green tea and show you how us Americans make carbonara. This is how we make carbonara. Typically, we use milder cheese and we use pork bacon, or basically the belly portion of the pork, cut rather than the cheek. And this is the most obtainable version version of carbonara that any average Joe American or any Italian or anybody in a supermarket can gain access to. Pork, bacon. Bacon is where the belly's at, plus some spaghetti noodles, plus Parmesan cheese, some salt and pepper, some eggs. That's all you really need. Maybe some tea to go along with the ride too. That's too easy. That's just too easy. I've seen chefs that have cooked at restaurants that are like Michelin star chef. Okay, make me a carbonara correctly. Make me this dish correctly. And almost universally, they fail because it's either too salty, the noodles are too sticky, the bacon's not cooked correctly or overcooked, or there's not enough cheese. Only after years and years of practice will you make the most perfect version of carbonara. In fact, I still feel like between the seafood pasta and the carbonara, what I have made at home as far as carbonara will still taste better than the seafood pasta. Because real men eat carbonara and then they eat seafood pasta. Seafood pasta's good though. Seafood pasta's good, but if you can't afford seafood pasta, or you can't afford $28, then this cost me $2 for the noodles, $4, $5 for bacon, another $2 on eggs, what is that, $8, salt and pepper plus, yeah. You know what guys, just try and make some at home. It's really worth the effort. Make that damn carbonara. I'm gonna have to eat the rest off camera. But this is so damn good. I mean, what more can I say? What more can I say?
Hey guys, welcome back, and thank you for blessing me with all your attention on the internet. So I guess one topic I want to talk about is how to stay, in your best form or in your best shape, how to stay motivated, how to stay positive even when you don't think things are necessarily working out. And so one thing I like to do as like a general method for, I guess, pushing myself further than other people might is, you might think about what are the consequences. So if you're, if you're above the age 21 or 25, your prefrontal cortex develops and people start thinking about, consequences, or really like what would happen if I were to become, an alcoholic, for example, or what would happen if I were to do something really drastic or crazy. So those are the type of things where, like, if you want to stay motivated, like, you have to think about the consequences of what would happen from not accomplishing your daily routine or your daily goals. And so even now, every day I have to sit down and sort of, record, video edit, publish, and also generate all the activity I'm generating on camera. And it has to make sense, and it has to be strung along very carefully so that somebody watching the video for the very first time can make sense of what's going on throughout the entire day or throughout my entire life. And so to do that correctly, it turns out that you have to work insanely hard. Like insanely hard, it turns out. And I wasn't expecting that it would take this much effort to actually make the video production and the video quality come out in a way where I'd be like, wow. So to stay motivated, one way of doing it is just to really think through the consequences of what would happen if you weren't to accomplish your goal. Say, for example, you have a very simplistic objective of, hey, I want to increase my income by $10,000 per month. Now you have to think the consequence of, hey, what would happen if you didn't accomplish that goal? Well, you would list all the problems that would occur right after that, right? Or if you were making a goal of, I want to cut down on my carbs, or I want to cut down on the amount of food I'm eating because I'm starting to become overweight. So if that's your goal, is to lose weight, I mean, you have to write down, like, what are the consequences of not adhering to your diet or following a specific plan for cutting back in order to achieve the desired look or the desired appearance that you want. Motivation comes from like some form of pain reward bias, meaning that you have to think about the pain or the consequences, and then you also have to have a bias towards reward. And that reward, or what's on the other side of something so difficult, has to be meaningful enough for you to go through the suffering needed, or whatever difficulties or those obstacles needed for you to then accomplish the goal that you're looking to achieve. So obviously, people will talk about like the concept of, hey, like most people are driven towards reward and they're pleasure seeking and they don't want to experience pain. Like, duh, like everybody knows that. Even in the Bible, Jesus goes about like parroting to his disciples that human beings are like wanton like seekers of pleasure and they don't worship God and blah blah blah. So that's theology. But just think about it, like philosophers, religious people, religious prophets of all types throughout the ages have complained about the fact that people are just seekers of pleasure. People are seekers of pleasure, and they often get criticized for it by much better people, whether it's Jesus Christ, whether it's Gandhi, whether it's the Prophet Muhammad, whether it's, various, religious leaders, various philosophers, will go through time, and you'll say for a fact that, pain reward bias. Okay, everybody knows that. But like, how can you actually apply some of that pain and reward bias into your life? Well, it goes back to consequential thinking. If I don't do a particular activity, you have to think in your mind, if I don't do this particular thing, I'm going to experience a consequence. So therefore, I am really motivated to accomplish something because I want to be driven towards a specific reward, and I don't want to suffer the consequences or the pain from not accomplishing a specific goal. So in the short term, your body is telling you to stop if, it's exhaustive to do something difficult like working out and getting some exercise. Eventually you're going to get to your failure point, but whoever's able to keep going or keep themselves motivated beyond their failure point is going to end up building muscle mass. So you often look at people who go to the gym, people who put on a lot of lean muscle mass, like actual muscle mass, not the bloated water weight or none of that, like real muscle mass, like, actual strength, basically. Like you actually gained muscle mass, and that muscle mass will correspondingly increase your strength to weight ratio. So you gained real mass. But in order to gain that mass, a lot of people have to get motivated by something, because in the short term, the pain, the bodily pain, and the injury suffered along the way will make a lot of people quit working out. So, the working out itself or getting injured is what causes people to quit, because they are pleasure seeking. And because you're pleasure seeking, there's no way in hell you're going to keep going to the gym, because a pleasure seeking person that only wants to experience the good things might not want to experience the burn, the fatigue, the exhaustion that goes into building up lean muscle mass and having a good, dietary balance in their life. And so those things are hard. Being a good-looking guy in your 30s with good nutrition, with skin that looks reasonable, with decent-looking hair. Most people don't pay enough attention to their appearance. They're not thinking about the consequence of what it would look like if you were a 300-pound obese person. Would you attract a hot girlfriend to go hook up with you or something like that? Would you attract people, or would you turn them away just based upon your appearance? Like, that's another consequence that you might not be even thinking about, just because of the fact that you neglected your own appearance, right? The thing I'm pointing out is, why stay motivated? It's because the pain reward bias is something that you have to kind of program yourself to get through correctly. And what I mean is that let's use the analogy of working out again. If the pain of working out gets to you, you're gonna give up. But if the implied reward of better health, a better looking body, a better looking, physique, better looking overall, you look more youthful at your own age, you have much more strength and muscle mass, like somebody looking at you is not gonna think like you didn't spend any time at all working out, so people can actually say, hey, you're physically fit, so that makes you more attractive. So you have to think about, okay, what am I sacrificing? Short-term pain, but then if you list the long list of rewards, better health, natural antioxidants, better, if you work out more, it demands better nutrition, so you're going to end up having to eat more food. So that's a reward. I mean, if you put on much more muscle mass and, you have to have many more calories as an intake in order to maintain the same body mass. Therefore, to maintain your metabolic rhythm, you have to eat more food. So as a benefit of working out consistently over a very long period of time, when you go out and you get to eat food, you get to eat in much larger quantities without becoming fat because you've built up a lot more muscle mass, therefore requiring you to have a natural, larger, more, healthy metabolism to absorb all those nutrients. So that's a long-term benefit. There's just a long list of short-term negatives. So people fall into two camps when it comes to the gym, or when it comes to working out or getting fit in general. They never overcome the short-term barriers of pain in order to experience the long-term benefits. On the other end of the extreme, there are cases where you should never experience the difficulty or the pain of a painful situation just for the sake of feeling that pain. So like an obvious example is, I wouldn't be motivated to go and get my hand burned on a stovetop, because obviously if you burn your hand on a stovetop, that's just going to cause bodily injury, and there's no benefit to that form of bodily injury. On the other hand, if you're working out and you're experiencing temporary fatigue and your body's experiencing the pain, and potential injuries will happen. If you're an athlete, you're working out, you can, sprain an ankle. You could, while lifting weights, you can bust your arm or your elbow socket and blow a hamstring or something like that. Don't get me wrong. People get injuries from working out all the time. So, so that's pain, physical pain. What about, in order to build a successful business or to have a financial life that people might envy, or things that, that will allow you to have, huge financial success? Well, in the short term, a lot of times people are not that lucky. The statistics are really against you if you want to be a successful business owner. And unless you put 100% of all your attention and effort into being an entrepreneur, I think you're probably going to fail. I don't think that there's a plan B exit plan for many entrepreneurs. So if they're going to have to strap themselves to a ship and row that boat, an entrepreneur might continue rowing when a normal person that's accustomed to working jobs or bouncing from job to job just to survive, they might not be accustomed to building business to business to business until each flop eventually yields enough wisdom, intelligence, knowledge, plus skill and expertise to eventually become a successful business person. So everybody, those are two great examples. The time spent at the gym, experiencing a lot of bodily injury and pain on your journey to achieve physical fitness. A lot of people won't do that. Another thing that people won't do is they won't go on that journey to achieve financial success by taking those small financial losses, or taking whatever financial loss is necessary until they eventually become successful. Now, when you become successful, all those losses that eventually cumulatively have, might have kept a lot of people on the side, might have just made somebody that could have been a successful business person. Some of those losses early on make them go back and get a job and go back to the labor market looking for a job, and they give up on their dream of becoming their own boss or their own business person. On that journey, if you keep taking those losses, eventually you'll find a way. And you'll find a way and that eventual reward bias will open up for you, and you will then become somebody who has suffered and weathered the losses and gone through the short-term pain of financial losses to then eventually figure it all out and end up being financially successful in a business or with your investments, however you go about doing it, or career-wise. But eventually people figure it out while suffering the financial losses and the financial burdens and the financial disappointments, the financial setbacks, the times they got scammed by their friends, the times they lost money because of their family, the time, like all of those things, eventually they're terrible. And we all go through them, but eventually somebody persistent enough, somebody who will persist and stay motivated, will find a way. And when they find their way and become successful, all that short-term pain and loss then becomes replaced with the ultimate reward of being financially free in one's own business. So because I am self-employed, I own my own business, I can say practically anything I want up until I get banned by YouTube, which I can't get banned by YouTube, but some people are controlled by their employer, and if they make one mistake on camera and say one thing wrong, they're going to be fired from their job. Well, I don't have that constraint, but I still have constraints. So just because you achieve financial success, you achieve a successful business, does not mean that you live a life without financial constraints. It just means that you have more financial freedom, and you have more freedom to decide what you can or cannot do with your time. More freedom, not absolute freedom. Those are two completely different things. Another thing I want to point out to you guys is this. If you do achieve more financial freedom through your own success, as your own boss, as your own entrepreneur, as somebody who can market and sell a product or a service in the marketplace that's desired and can earn a living off of their own product or service, somebody that's an entrepreneur. To get to that point, you have to suffer a lot of losses, intermediary losses, and everything in between, but ultimately the reward happens and you accomplish those goals. Those goals because you are worried about the consequences of not achieving those goals, of not becoming a financially successful business person, by not being that person that you say you are, somebody that can make that $10, $20, $50, $100,000 month. And it's not temporary. It's a continuous thing. And I don't want to be that guy that just talks about temporary success. And that's why I always stay motivated and drill myself even further and stay even more focused until I figure out a way to achieve a business result even more consistently. So even if my marketing results might change from quarter to quarter, I'm going to put even more money on marketing to improve my business performance so that my business will more consistently yield the same outcome over and over again. This is where you go from pain to reward bias, and after you achieve the end outcome that you're looking for, you're your own independent boss, then it comes down to being able to replicate those results more consistently and reinvesting into those results, therefore further distancing yourself and allowing you to establish, I have accomplished the reward, and now I can retain or hold on to this lifelong privilege of being a successful, self-made entrepreneur, business owner. And that's a humongous reward. A lot of people never make it there. A lot of people languish and they fail and they lose their businesses or they go bankrupt. So every day I tell myself, if I sit back, if I get complacent, if I stop working, if I stop doing what I need to do, what is that going to cause? That's going to cause my business to fail. And to stay on the right track, you have to remind yourself that in order to be successful, you have to have a long-term pain-reward bias. You have to focus on the long term, and in the short term is not always about exerting how many benefits life gives you. It's also about suffering the short-term pain in order to weather the long-term benefit of a bigger and more humongous success. So that's why I say pain-reward bias is very important, but it's how you interpret the pain and the reward. If you're not perceiving the pain-reward bias correctly, like you're not working on the right things in order to accomplish that eventual outcome that you're looking for in life, then you might just become a victim of circumstance, of the system, of someone else's role or identity they've created for you. But if you change, and if you change the direction you're going in life, and you find a way to motivate yourself to envision a longer term, a big picture reward that you're working towards, and all this short-term pain that you can think about is just temporary, is a temporary thing, that will help you get motivated to accomplish things. Because now you can acknowledge that even though it's painful in the moment, there's this humongous reward on the other side, and that reward will pull you to that end outcome. I believe it will. And so it's very important to understand pain, reward bias, to understand goal setting, and to understand the difference between the type of short-term sacrifice needed in order to make the long-term benefits happen for you in your life. You know, some things are worth fighting for. Some things, in my opinion, are not. Some things are a bigger priority for you to have a happier life. I'm okay at 30 years old being a single bachelor with a successful business. If I had to have both, I probably wouldn't have either right now. So I'm thankful to have a successful business. I'm thankful to have a spontaneous and rapidly growing media channel on YouTube. And I'm also grateful to have some income coming in from managing short-term rentals. So even if it's not on perfect conditions and I had done, a phenomenal job or anything like that, nobody's saying that they have. I'm just saying that, for the most part, at the very minimum, I'm working on and I'm achieving in 3 different dimensions, working on 3 different businesses where historically that has been my bread and butter. Making money from media, making money from home services, and also making money from short-term vacation rentals. So that's how I stay motivated. I think about the consequences for what could happen if I don't do what I'm supposed to be doing. I also think about the long-term rewards from the short-term pain that I'm experiencing, and I will only experience pain if there's an actual reward or a meaningful reward on the other side. Like, don't get it twisted. Don't suffer just for the sake of suffering. Don't burn your hand on a stovetop just for the sake of burning your hand. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you have a long-term vision and a goal, whether it's business success, body success, romantic success, spiritual success, you need to work on your spirit, you need to work on your soul, you need to work on your mind. Whatever success that you want to accomplish, you have to stay motivated and you have to envision the end reward for accomplishing whatever it is that you're accomplishing, and that will keep you motivated, that will keep you going, and that's kind of my blueprint for kind of rationalizing why I can do certain things better than other people, because even now, like with all the work that I'm generating, all the activity I'm generating, I can think of the long-term reward of being a humongous YouTube star. Like maybe I'll make extra money. Maybe I'll be invited to different celebrity events or something like that, assuming I become a tremendous success on YouTube. So therefore I work 24 hours a day to achieve some of that success. So I don't know about you, and I mean that sounds superficial, but I just you can think of whatever it is that will like help you drag you along until you accomplish the goal that you're looking for. In my case, I had to think of a long list of reasons for why I'm doing something as difficult as this at times, but it's a good reason for you to continue building a list or a long list of reasons for why whatever boulder or Sisyphus rock that you're trying to roll up the hill, that, you know, just continue adding to that list of reasons and keep working on it every single day. That's what I'm telling you. And that's the advice of somebody who's already made it and makes more than six figures, on his way to making 7 figures here in Los Angeles, where the weather's perfect and prices are expensive, and you know, life couldn't be more beautiful, at least in my opinion. But to make life beautiful, you have to work really hard at it, and you have to think about the consequences every single day for every action you take. You have to think about the consequences for something that could negatively impact you down the road as well. And you want to avoid that type of confrontation and those type of problems. And ultimately, if you want to become the person that you want to become, you need to find a good enough of a reason, and you need to remind yourself of that reason every day. Because if that thing that you want is so good, I am almost certain other people are competing for that same reward. And they're competing in a way that's very similar to you. Whether they're competing in professional sports with you, they're competing in the business world against you, they're competing on YouTube for the same audience as you. So just know that if you have a humongous reward, that everybody else also knows there's also a huge reward at the end of the tunnel. And they're also working, clawing their way, trying to get at that same reward. So the world's very competitive. And that's why I'm saying, you're gonna have to remind yourself every day, work relentlessly, and only maybe then, just maybe then, you might accomplish the thing you're looking for. And then upon accomplishing that thing, I guess you're gonna really have to enjoy what you've got, because you just spent all this resource, all this time, all this money, all this energy trying to accomplish whatever it is that you tried to accomplish. And after you've accomplished it, the next piece of advice I can give you is try to enjoy what you've got. Because man, life is short and life isn't perfect, and you don't know when life is going to end. So if I were you, I would live life purposefully. And I would live life as if life is temporary, because it is. And I would live life as if you only have a couple days or 5 days left on planet Earth to live. Even though you might have much longer to live, think irrationally just to keep yourself even more motivated through your day. And so that's kind of some of the thought process I use to kind of push the carrot along even further. So maybe I'd end up having to work a little harder, kind of grab a bit more, try to grab for that carrot, and like I'm saying, I'm not sure if this form of motivation will work for anybody, but if you want to accomplish at a high level, I mean, stay committed, stay focused, and work at it, and work as if it's the last day on planet Earth. And maybe if you do that consistently enough, you work like it's the last day on Earth, I mean, who's going to stop you? There are very few cases where people are working as if they think they have a finite lifespan. There are very few cases where people are tunnel vision motivated and every day they wake up to the same thing, trying to do the same exact thing over and over again. Most people give up. That's what's supposed to happen. I'm just asking you not to. Because if you stop giving up, you keep working, you keep persisting, maybe you're that guy. That's the millionaire next door. Maybe you're that guy or girl that's that famous superstar or whatever. Whatever it is you're looking to achieve, that is something you absolutely cannot give up on. And that's why I say, continue to look for daily motivation techniques, look for your reasons, and keep adding to those reasons, and keep working at it, and never, ever give up.